Watch me slip and fall on the snow like the old man that I am. Then if I ever learn how to edit videos right, I can just put one of those disclaimers like they do in those car crash compilations that says no one was injured. So now that the well is done and I actually have some good water in the house again, I've been wanting to come out and get busy on the Saturn, but it's been just a little bit above absolute zero out here. And I do want to do the Saturn because I know I'm really getting close. I don't have that much work left to do. Oh boy. So after 68 and a half trips to the hardware store and buying a bunch of parts that I didn't need and I'll probably never use, and spending way more money than I needed to, the well's finally going. I've got the 20 feet of pipe drove down with the well point. I'm in 8 feet of water. I've got my check valve comes up and comes into the hard plastic. The hard plastic you have to heat up with a torch so that you can get it on the fittings and then put a hose clamp on it. Come up through here into the new pump, and the same thing on this end. Heat up the hard plastic. It will not go onto those guys unless you heat it up. Come up here. I had a brand new pressure valve, pressure thingy-majabber doohickey thingy gauge. That's the word. And it was leaking, so I just used the old one. I cannibalized it off the old pump. Over here, I put a thingy, turn off spigot, hooked the hose to it, ran the hose over into the stationary tub, and once I got it running, shut it off to the whole system. I put a shut-off valve here, and I put a union here so that if I have any issues here, I can put it all back together, take it apart, fix it, blah, blah, blah. Hose to the stationary tub, pump running, coming out of the ground, looked like some kind of nasty old runny diaper stuff coming out of it for about 20 minutes. It's gross and disgusting. Make sure that's how it's done. That's how I do it. You don't want all that stuff going up into the entire home. So that's why I had the shut-off valve on this side of the spigot. And then if there's any problems, I ever have to prime it again or drain it out or something like that, I can close this off and I can leave the water in the house and just work on whatever I need to deal with here. The pump runs great, pulls water, no problem, builds up great pressure. So then I ended up going up here with the pipe. I put a piece of insulation, pipe insulation up around there. You can kind of see it up in there. I put that pipe insulation up there because my heat duct is right here and I didn't want my water getting heated up before it gets to the house. So you can get a cool glass of water. I just went through and zip tied these guys up. I just put a screw in there. There we go. I just put a screw in there and then just zip tied it up tight to the floor joist. I've got a whole bunch of copper that's not getting used, and that's probably going to pay for this whole project that I just did. Rip that out and take it down and recycle that, make some pennies. Just every couple of floor joists, I'd put a zip tie and a screw, and I ran over here to the softener, changed the whole house filter while the water was off. It's one of these guys, pretty simple. Random ass shower in the basement that goes nowhere. Yep. I didn't put that in. I don't know why it's here. But this just goes up here. Unscrew it. Change it. Put it back on. Easy peasy. Changes the whole house filter because I didn't want to pump any garbage in there. And I change these every few months, but I'm going to change this a little more often now for a while since it's a new pump. I ran my PVC down to the softener. The softener has CPVC, which there's this little transition piece to do that. Bam, done. A little bit of glue, a little bit of primer, put her together, done. Got rid of the old system. Here's the thingamajabber doohickey, that was dripping on me, brand new, kind of sad. but whatever. This is going to go out to the garage, and I'm going to use that to irrigate the yard and the garden and all that jazz. I want to bring the old well pump and pressure tank back out here to the garage, because if you look right there, I've got an existing point in the ground already, which it may be junk. It might have to be shot. Might have to just pull it out and put a new one in. But then the garage has already got all this hooked up to it, and there's a tank in there, and just needs a motor and a pump actually. But then I can kind of irrigate my garden this spring and summer and be a little more successful with that. I'm going to get rid of this, save it, cut that off, cover it with concrete, cut that off, cover it with concrete. Everything works great. I got the water pressure of a hero now. It's like we're like real people. Running clear, smells fine, no issues, plenty of pressure, and it stays that way. You can see it dropping, maybe. It'll take a while, but it'll get down to 30 or whatever, and then she'll kick on. There it is. And it'll kind of hover around 30, 35 while that's running full blast. And you can take a shower for a little bit longer than 13 seconds. Remember the first video, this guy here was kind of bouncing and didn't want to get up 20. Well, it's already 40. That's where the other one was set to shut off. This one can handle it and get it all the way up to 50, 60. And new tank, new pump, all new plumbing. A lot of money. But had to happen. It's water. It's going to probably last the rest of my life, so what do I care? But I did want to mount the pump on top of the tank because it would isolate it and it wouldn't make all the sound transfer through the walls into the house. I couldn't do that because this tank does not have the adapter on top of it. I'm going to figure something else out eventually, but for now we're good to go. I ended up putting it on this plywood and mounting it here, drilling the holes through it and bringing the hoses up and whatnot. But since it's mounted to the plywood and the plywood's mounted to the shelf and the shelf is mounted to the walls and the walls are mounted to the floor, it transfers all the sound upstairs. And it's really not horrible. It's nowhere near as loud as the other one was. And it doesn't run nearly as long. It runs for a second and shuts off. So it's all good for now. I'll probably never fix that. So the old tank had this here that you mount the pump to. And it was right there. You can see that little, there's a fitting in there that you can bolt this to the tank, and the new tank doesn't have that. So I have water. It worked. Another success.